Good evening, everyone, and welcome once again to the place to be on a Sunday night. Where tonight we're coming to you from Spa for round two of the Sunday Night Lights. Where this week we're all sort of in our, I guess you'd say, our 24-hour Le Mans hangover. There's a few people backing up, a few people still racing, but the folks in the Skippy community have still come out in strength tonight for the ANZ Strength of Field race, where I'm your host, Alex McKellar, and joining me once again is the chaotic one himself, Mr. Corey Steinhauser. Corey, big night of racing ahead once again.
Yeah, that's exactly right, Alex. And it's amazing that we have actually assembled quite the field here for tonight's racing. As you said, everyone's still on Spa hangover. So, on Le Mans hangover, sorry. So, it's great to see so many people have actually turned out for Spa racing tonight, including yourself having a stint with BDR Team Milo for the 24-hour race. Amazing effort by you guys. Well done on finishing, which is always the big thing. But tonight's action should be an absolute ripper, especially after the practice race we saw between Simonson and Lucetta, our 1 and 2 plated cars here tonight, Alex.
Yeah, looking forward to seeing that battle resume. Lucetta and Simonson, no strangers to this track. Of course, Simonson in real life, he's won the 24-hour Spa race here in real life. So no doubt he'll have some local knowledge that he'll put into good use tonight. Lucetta, of course, rising through the ranks rapidly. Big breaks Lucetta back for another dip at Sunday Night Lights, as is Pablo Espes on screen at the moment, who provided no shortage of action at Summit Point last week. Great to see the Iberian back on track tonight, as is his compatriot Christian Perez, who also put on a fantastic show last week. Great to see him back. Another up-and-coming driver from the Iberian Club who's been doing pretty good things on the Skippy scene, Corey.
Yeah, well, that's exactly right, Alex. And he's been just slowly and quietly rising himself up the ranks as well. Tonight, the 6-plated car, Christian Perez in there. We've got a lot of great names in here, including two of our local Aussie favourites in Ben Snell and John Skoltz. A couple of other Aussies in here that we might not have heard of much. So we've got Russell Clark in here, who everyone knows, but also we've got Lachlan Minef in here. Another Aussie and Z driver who I'm not too familiar with, but he is the 11-plated car here tonight, Alex.
Yeah, well, the strength of field for those playing at home is 37.78. Strongest field of the week by some margin still, but certainly I think the 24-hour Le Mans probably playing a part. But the regulars have come out. We've got the three Milo boys that I had a race with in Snell, Clark and Skoltz. Skoltz looking to back up that fine performance. He drove very well in that race and looking to translate that into a good performance here tonight. But we have some familiar names up the top of the pops as well. We mentioned Simonson, Lucetta, Lee Anderson from UK&I. He's back. But some new names as well that you mentioned in Minef and Bridle, who I think joined us in chat earlier before the game. Good luck to him tonight. Jack Bladden's back for another stint after putting on a great display last week as well. Now, the guys will only get one lap in here if memory serves. So you got Thomas Torp being pipped by Lee Anderson at the moment. Lee Anderson's done a 2:49.1. Great time around here. The skips this season seem a little bit quicker around here as the Puce machine makes another appearance this week. And Bridle, once again, he's jumped up to the top. The 13-plated car has pipped all comers. Christian Perez, though, he's starting to show his skills out there with a 49 dead. That's a great drive. Lucetta, he has only managed some 3/10 behind with a 49.3. Thomas Torp on a cool-down lap, unless... No, I don't think he's going to make from there, is he, Corey?
No, I don't think so, Alex. I think the only two people we're waiting on times on is Benny Simonson, our 1-plated car, and the 19-plated car of Tobias Rodner. They're currently working their way through the last straightaway before the bus stop chicane. So it'll be interesting to see what these guys can put up as far as times go, Alex.
Yeah, riding on board with Simonson now as he comes into that final chicane. We've got the comparison up there. He's got to beat a 49 flat. Comes out of the final left-hander, uses all the track without picking up the incident point. As the clock ticks over, he's done a 48.3, if you don't mind. He has jumped to the top of the pops by 6/10, if you can believe it. 6/10 in this kind of field is pretty outstanding, I have to say. And just 25 seconds remaining. I don't know, is Anderson's out on track, but he's nowhere in terms of setting another time. And I think that's about it, is it, Corey?
Yeah, I dare say that no one else is going to have enough time to make it across the line. Alex, I can see the five-plated car of Caleb Hydes out there at the moment, and I don't think he's going to be able to make it. Not even in his wildest dreams, as time has just elapsed.
All right, then let's go grab our grid for tonight's race. Simonson taking his second pole in consecutive weeks from UK&I with a dominant display in quality once again. Christian Perez sitting on the second spot on the grid tonight from Iberia. UK&I's Tom Bridle back for another crack. He's in P3, car number 13. UK&I's Puce-powered Lee Anderson out of P4. Manu Luqueta for Thrustmaster Mivano, I think it is. I forgot to update the overlays, Corey. He's out of P5. John Scholz, the leading ANZ and Team Milo driver here tonight. Thomas Torp, he's joined us from Scandinavian Club, and he's in P7. Lachlan Minef from ANZ out of P8 tonight. Jack Bladden, the UK&I driver, back for another crack. He's out of P9 off the grid. Pablo Espes, a little bit lower on the grid this week, out of P10 for R70 and Iberia. Tobias Rona, he's here tonight out of P11. P12 off the grid is George Aviles Dominic. As we go over the page, if I can find the right button. Team Milo Bossman Russell Clark out of P13 tonight. James A. Barrington from UK&I out of 14th. Caleb Hydes for ANZ out of 15th. Sebastian Schultz put on a great race last week. He's out of P16. P17, Team Milo's Ben Snell didn't manage to set a time tonight. Sist Joran Hartveld, he's out of P18. Francisco Palmer from Iberia out of 19th. Strength of field 37.78, as we said. Track temp nice and cool at 19 degrees. Corey, with just, what have we got, about 20 seconds to go, the drivers will be taking their marks, getting set, as it were, and ready to go as we try and find one of the better camera angles. Let's see if it's over here. No, we want everyone in shot there. There we go. The starter takes his position. The red lights mean rev. Green lights mean go, and we're away for round 2, season 20 of Sunday Night Lights, as they all run down now to La Source for the first time. A field of 19 cars. Benny Simonson leading the way. A bit of net code costing him there. They're almost costing him the front of his nose, or at least on our screens. And now we've got a long streaming line of very hot running skippies here tonight, down for the first time through Radion and El Rouge. Single file they go up and over the hill. Keep your eye out in the pack for any stragglers you might get caught out before the tyres come up to grip. Now the first run down the Kemmel Straight. This is where we see things get exciting, folks. Tom Bridle, he's now at the front, but look at this. 3, 4, can they make it 5 wide down in the pack? And still they come through Lacombe for the first time. This 7, 8, 9 complex. The 13 car Brittle, he's around. Bridle's around and off into the grass as the race continues. Perez now struggling with his connection, Corey, as this race continues down the hill into Brussels.
And Benny Simonson has pulled himself out to a good gap at the moment, Alex. He's down, gone out to a 0.3 of a second gap, and he's not looking back.
Big moments out the back. Sorry, mate. Big moments out the back. I'm just trying to find, I think Snell was involved. We might take a moment, just go have a look, because that was a multi-car incident, I think, coming down the hill into Brussels as we back up on the exit of Lacombe now, down through this right-hander. Down the hill they come, and I think it unfolded in front of Snell here rather than involving him. Yeah, we see. Oh, the 4 car. Oh, who was that? That was George. And he's, it's all just come unstuck. Cold tyres. Oh, Simmons, Snell's copped a whack. Russell Clark's gone for the, he's in the wall on the outside. It's all carnage everywhere. I tell you what, it'd take half an hour to unpack that one. I think there was so much going on. But a couple of boys licking their wound after that one, Corey.
Yeah, that's right, Alex. And it's unfortunate to see a lot of really good cars taken out in that one. Ben Snell has pulled the ripcord and has gone to the pits, I do believe. But anyway, the race does continue on. And at the moment, the leading drivers are in a pack of about 5 or 6, maybe 8, as I start counting them as they come around the bus stop chicane. Benny Simonson still leading the way from Christian Perez. A little bit more of the group than what we saw in the warm-up race. After the straightaway, they all seem to just go out to groups of 2 mostly. But at the moment, they're holding on to this group of 8. And there's a group of 4 behind them that are looking very raggedy there as well, Alex.
Yeah, there's a few in there, and in amongst them is John Scholz. As you say, we're down. Front pack's down to about P8 at Tobias Rona. And he's just about to get dropped, I think. Espes on the back with Scholz in front of him. It'll probably be a pack of 7 potentially, maybe 8 if Rona can hang on. And then you've got Hartvelt leading out Hides and Schultz. And Palmer getting in amongst it there. But what are they going to do up the front here? 2-3 wide, is it? Yes. Into Lacombe this time round. Luqueta tucked into P3. He's trying to skip away, dare I say, with these front guys. And this is what Spa can bring out. He can bring big packs or small breakaways. At the moment, it's a big pack. And I'll tell you what, it's only 9 laps. We're on lap 2. But the longer this pack stays together, the more threat of the big one happening there is.
Well, that's exactly right, Alex. And we're no strangers to seeing the big one happen when we do have the groups like this. Case in point, last week at Summit Point, the long front straightaway, we saw a lot of drama happening. But at the moment, these guys are seeming to keep it all fairly stable, even if the connections are not. Of course, there are still some Le Mans servers going up, as I think we may have a problem with Christian Perez. Just pulled over to the side and started letting everyone go there, Alex.
Might have picked up a slowdown, although the network is... He might just be doing the gentlemanly thing, to be honest, and saying, hey, my network's not that great tonight, I won't cause any incidents and I'll just sit here until it settles down. He hasn't dropped off the back of the pack. He's still there tucked in behind Scholz. That'll bring Rona back into it, likely. The question is, can Espes hang on to the back of Torp, or will it become a battle pack of 4? No, they're going to go 3 wide through Blanchemont if you don't mind. This time round, will they? Nearly. No, they're going to go single file. I thought they were going to try it. I tell you what, the attack angle of these cars now, you can see the nose really trying to point in the apex and the rear car stepping out through Blanchemont, but these guys handling it with consummate ease. As again, look at Espes. He takes that direct line at the apex. He did it last weekend at turn 1. He's doing it into the final chicane just there. I tell you what, he's the only one doing it. One of these kids is not like the other, as they say in Sesame Street. I wonder if it'll bring about a bit of action this week, Corey.
It very well might, Alex, as I just saw someone pulling off into the pits. I do believe that was a 16 of Francisco Palmer. But as you can see, coming out of the first corner, these guys are all spread out wide. They want to use the whole track, look for whatever advantages they can before they hit Eau Rouge and then rattle on. And these guys just trying to find their own little space of track at the moment. Some people want to chill out. But mostly it's all about trying to advance your position to make sure you're in the best possible position for that last lap, because the last lap is the one that pays the bills, Alex. And these guys fighting it out pretty early, and we go 3 wide, if you don't mind, along the Kemmel Straight and into Lacombe. And it looks like we're going to have Espes challenging for the lead of Benny Simonson here, Alex.
Tell you what, there's going to be no breakaway here at this rate. These boys are keeping everyone in it. Side by side, Luqueta and Anderson on the exit of turn 9, now into 10 at Brussels. and yeah, they've managed to get it sorted. But yeah, you're right. They were fanning out on the exit of La Source at 1. I think each and every one of them trying to time that run up through La Source. Radion and Eau Rouge. They're up to get the final run into the braking zone at the source, because that's where the strategy is going to come into play, I think. But will it be in these early stages? Is it worth their while? I mean, they're just going to bring and compress all these guys back together, and we are, as we said now, a pack of 8. It's not going to split up unless there's some mistakes in here. But there again, maybe the battling will force one, Corey.
Well, it very well could, Alex, but it could also maybe encourage a little bit of a breakaway. If 2 of these guys can get a good enough run by leapfrogging, we could see, a mistake in the 4th or the 5th position, and the leading 3 or 4, take away and just, leave everyone else in the dust. But, that's going to be yet to be seen, because we know the skill of these drivers and we know how good they are as they go too wide through that very fast sweeping left-hand corner. They all go back to single file, but these skippies are definitely on edge around this track, Alex, and they don't call it Spa, frankly, off tracks for nothing.
No, absolutely. Oh, gee, checked up there dramatically. They didn't want to go, Espes didn't want to go 2x2 through there. And just behind, Lee Anderson was very aware as we see the second pack now. Oh, we've lost another Milo car. I think behind that it was Scholz. Scholz now joining up with his team boss in Russell Clark. But Sebastian Schultz once again relegated to the second pack at this stage. And has been, I tell you what, these guys are getting amongst it. 2 wide, nearly 3 through the source. They found right out through there. And that's not going to bridge any gaps, is it, Corey?
No, it's definitely not. And in fact, I'm starting to see the top 5 here, Alex, breaking away a little bit from 6th and 7th. So we'll have to wait and see how this is going to affect the racing. But there's definitely a very large air gap there starting to form, as we can see a 2 wide with Espes looking on the outside. And looks like Lucetta trying to take the inside. I can see Anderson almost making it 4. But Espes will take the lead this time as we go into Les Combes, and Anderson has moved himself up into the P2. We're going to get changing lead every single lap here, Alex. I can just see it happening right now.
Espes really looking to put his authority on this race. I tell you what, Anderson really tried to poke the nose on the outside into Les Combes there, and they almost gave me my wish of 4 wide, but it's now 5 deep as we see the trailing Christian Perez continue with those network issues, and Tobias Ronner, he's stuck in behind Perez. Perhaps Perez looking to have that connection settle down, as we said, and rejoin the race at a later stage if he can, at least the battlefront front. But he's 1.1 seconds behind. But I tell you, these guys will build a gap in the straights, but then when, at those compression points, at the end in the final chicane and again up at Les Combes, all that gap that they build up, through these sorts of sections where they're single filed and the long Camel Straight or the back and out through Blanchimont, it all gets swallowed up as soon as they go 3 and 4 wide into the heavy braking zones, Corey. And that's where someone playing the smart game like Perez, trying to manage his connection as much as his race, that's where he might win out in the end if he stays patient.
Well, that's exactly right, Alex. And with these guys battling as hard as they are for these front 4 positions now, as they're starting to build a little bit of a gap over Thomas Trop, the possibility of them having a coming together is, greatly exemplified with these compression zones. And, someone like a Christian Perez, who is just sitting back there, biding his time, could gain a great advantage from these guys coming together as we now start lap number 5. That's going to be 4 laps down in the books, 5 to go, Alex. Who have you got your money on at the moment?
Well, it's hard to say. It's luck's a fortune in this sort of thing, and it really, without wanting to throw out the cliche, I really think it's a lottery. And ultimately, my bet will be on the smartest guy winning it. And I don't know who that is right now because most of them are playing their cards close to the chest. there's risk in sitting up front, but there's also reward in sitting up front, because if there's any action going on behind you that disrupts the run of the guys behind you, then contact on the straight. And Espes and Anderson come together on the Camel straight. You don't see that every day. Anderson in the Puce-powered UK&I machine dropping back now. I don't know if he's picked up any damage, but I tell you what, he's still going 2 by 2 behind. Oh, I tell you what, these different lines that Espes taking, maybe catching people out unstuck in some of the heavy braking zones, but you wouldn't expect to see that on the straight every day.
No, you don't, Alex, but at a track like Spa where, you want to be defensive but attacking at the same time, especially on the straightaways where you don't know where the next attack's going to come from, it's where we can expect some things to happen on the straightaway, especially on the straightaway that leads, well, it's not really a straightaway, but the straightaway technically that leads up into the bus stop chicane. Because those curves, you might not think of them as passing opportunities, but these guys will, because of the draft and, because of the overspeed that you can get from the draft. It's just so incredible in certain places. And these drivers are going to be wanting to try and exploit that wherever they possibly can, Alex.
Absolutely. And that flows on to a question we've had coming out of the viewer chat tonight. Why do the guys sometimes go line astern, and why are they spread out at other times? Now, these cars are known for their draft power. This is an extremely well-known draft track. You can have an advantage of so much time on these long straights, but the thing is, the straights are so long here for these lowly powered cars. You've got to pick your time. You've got to pick your time when to go, when to sit outside the draft to then time the run into the overtaking zones here. Because if you are not careful, up the big back straight out of Kemmel, you could pass someone and then get repassed before you hit the braking zone. So the guys here really having to figure out their strategies. We see Simonson take the defensive line into the final chicane there to get the exit run out, and sitting behind in P2 as they cross the line at the tail end of lap 5, start of lap 6. They got 4 to go, Corey. Now, you've asked me, mate, who's your money on?
Honestly, it'd be hard to take my money anywhere but Benny Simonson. I mean, he's definitely shown that he's going to be the pace setter, and you can see he's just sitting there in the second position. He's fanned out a little bit, so he's not catching the draft before they get to Eau Rouge. And I reckon he's just playing the smart game here, sitting in second. You can see he's let Espes build up a bit of a gap as they come over the top of Radalon. And he's just sitting there quietly waiting. He's letting everyone just battle it out hard behind him. I'm going to have to put my money on Simonson.
Yeah, of course, he's got the runs on the board here, and he did sit that. You can see he sat that extra distance back, and it gave him. Look, he's just got clear by the time they hit the braking zone. Perfect tactics by Simonson there. Luquetta's followed him. Espes tucked in behind. And what it does, 2 by 2 behind there, you got Anderson and Torp. Anderson trying to get his way back into it. Now, they're 0.8 of a second behind as they start going through the twisty sections now on the hill down into Brussels. I tell you what, that might be it. These 4 might be run and done, because they're now 1.4 seconds with Simonson on the front of the leading pack as they come through No Name now on the mid stages of lap 6. Could be down to a battle in 3 as we see once again Luquetta sitting on the back there, pulling out a draft so as not to put his run compromised into the corner. Leave the spacing nicely so that 3 of them can get through cleanly. 1.5, an extra 10th down that straight as they go through Pouon this time round, Corey.
And these guys are still going to be battling it out pretty hard for these top 3 positions. And just because we think that the race might be over now that they're starting to get a little bit of a gap with the guys behind, it's definitely very far from over. But Benny Simonson being in front of this thing, he'd be wanting to try and lead these 2 guys behind him away from the rest of the pack. Because the less people he has to try and fight for the lead, the better off he's going to be later on in the race when it does come down to the crunch time, Alex. But this second group, currently still being led by Lee Anderson, they're not going to want to let this just sit down and die. They want to try and catch up themselves. You can see Lee Anderson pulling out wide to the outside of the corner to allow the 9 of Thomas drop through so they can, do the leapfrogging technique and try and see if that will help them to bridge this gap a little bit.
Well, Anderson's showing a lot of race IQ there as he pulls right up close to top under brakes, I should say. And the problem is, if there's only one guy in that pack who's racing as a team, so to speak, as they cross the line now with 3 laps to go, this front three of Simonson, Espes and Lucchetta will just keep on driving away, Corey.
Well, that's right, Alex, but them just doing this little bit of a thing, even if it's only every once in a while, it will still help them, especially if you see like Lucchetta pulling out wide after they come out of La Source. If they can just catch his draft a little bit, especially considering after La Source you're pretty much full throttle all the way through to Lake Com, it could end up helping them to bridge this gap. As you can see now, they're starting to battle it out here for the 4th position, 3 wide in their little 3-car pack. The leaders have already gone back to single file, Alex. That's how well organized those guys at the front are. But you can see Lee Anderson, he pulled the move very early and then he just stayed in the middle of the track because he didn't want to get re-overtaken as they were coming into Lake Com there.
Yeah, they did not manage their spacing well there. 1.7 seconds is now the gap. I think that's about an extra 3/10 over the course of the lap. We've seen now 4/10 as they hit 1.8. This front three of Espes, Simonson and Lucchetta, they look to be the ones that will battle this out, barring any mistakes. So great to see the cream rising to the surface this week. Espes, 2 strong performances in 2 weeks, putting the cat amongst the pigeons in some respects, but then I tell you what, Lucchetta and Simonson, they're here to win as well. They will be racing hard to the finish. It's whether or not it'll be a battle pack of 3, which is what it's shaping up to be, or whether Anderson can lead this trailing pack back to join them and make it 6, Corey.
Yeah, well, that's right, Alex. And, it's definitely going to be interesting to see the way that all the cookies will crumble in this one, so to speak. But I'm going to just start finding my way towards the back of this field a little bit. I can see Sebastian Schultz, the 8-plated car, currently sitting in P8 in a little bit of a space all on his own, Alex. He's not going to be having a happy time there. But moving back, we can see a little bit of a group here forming for the 9th, 10th, 11th and 12th positions. These guys are finding out a little bit at the moment. They're looking for those SNL points, the ever coveted SNL points, to try and make a run for the championship here, because even 1 point is still a point at the end of the day, Alex.
Absolutely, 2 by 2 they go. Oh, I tell you what, that was a fair run through Blanchemont that time. These blokes getting their money's worth from signing up to SNL this week. 3 wide, can they make it through? No, they're going to make it 2 wide through the final chicane now. Side by side again. Oh, I tell you what, there's plenty of action going on in the midfield. They managed it, Corey, although the 4-car there of Domenech, he's got rear wing damage. Looks like he's had a run in at some point. And 2 by 2 still, this battle back rages on in the midfield. These boys certainly worth the price of admission alone. As we jump back up front, Simonson almost got away there. 4/10 was the gap as Lucchetta and Espes try to sort themselves out. Lucchetta really sitting out to the far left of the track as 3 wide again. That's not how you make the draft passes work, boys. Out the back, the Kemmel straight, you've got to get it done a bit better than that if you want to bridge what is now a 2-second gap. And how they get themselves sorted there once again is not the fastest way around here. And you've got Perez all the meanwhile sitting there with his connection woes, just quietly biding his time, not getting in amongst it. Very gentlemanly, I would suggest. As I said before, quite the act of sportsmanship. And he'll just be waiting there to mop up the pieces, I think, as our front 3, led by Simonson this time round, who, as we know, has got the pace here. What was he out by 3 or 6/10 or something at the start? These two certainly know who to leave out in front to try and build that gap.
Well, that's right, Alex. But in another token to that, we've only got a lap and a half to go now. So these guys are going to have to start thinking about what their strategy is going to be for that last lap. Is Simonson going to let, Espes and Lucchetta go past as they start coming towards the bus stop, or is he going to let them go on the long straightaway so he can get them in the final sector? You know, these are all the questions that'll be going through these drivers' heads, and they're going to be making action plans for them immediately right now because we've only got a quarter of the penultimate lap left. These guys are going to have to start figuring out everything that they need to do for the end of this race, Alex.
Absolutely. It'll be interesting to see what they do here because P3 can easily leapfrog into P1 at the back of Kemmel Straight. Looks like Simpson's almost taking a defensive position there. Wanted to cover off the outside line, which leads to the inside running into the final chicane. Espes will be forced to go the long way around in the final chicane as they all shift line of stern. Espes now thinking, all right, P3, and I wondered that because he's wanted to lead this race quite often, pulling strategically into P3. But you know what? There was no drafting there, and behind them now, 1.2 seconds. 0.8 of a second, now 0.9 of a second they have gained through here. We are indeed looking at potentially a pack of 7 here for the final stages, depending on how these front 3 manage the run up the Kemmel Straight, Corey.
That's right, Alex, and that is the beauty and also one of the downsides if you're the leaders of a long drafty track just like this. But at the moment, Lucetta leading their way through Eau Rouge and Radillon. Simonson's right on his tail. He's fishing that right side of the track, Alex. It's the short way around because it gives you the inside line for Lecom. You see he's almost over on the white line, covering it as well as he can. Espes right up his clacker. As they come to Lecom this time, it's going to be Simonson leading the way from Lucetta. Espes filing back to third, and the battle is on for fourth, Alex.
Oh, I tell you what. Oh, in the background, there's still 2 wide. Oh, Perez has nearly lost the rear of the carriage. Hang on to that. That's probably his race done, potentially, as far as competition goes. As you see, Simonson running wide now. Simonson running wide through the sweeping right-hander at 10. Through No Name now, you've got Lucetta there. Was that tactical? Was that a sorry, not sorry mistake now? As he second place, of course, is brilliant coming through that final run into Blanchimont as we come down now through Pouon, and you've got, oh, Lucetta running wide now. Lucetta, he's run wide himself. Picked up the 1X, not the optimal line through there. Of course, Espes, what's he got in store for these front 2 now? Coming through the final twisty section now at Stavolo at 15 and 16 coming up. 16, of course, is, or 15, I should say. No, it's 16 at Stavolo, the one you really want to know. That's 15 there. Coming through 16 now. This is the one you really want. Simonson, tactically, 3.5 tenths behind. Will that be the run he needs? And you've got Espes all the while looking to follow him through. We might hop on board with Espes now. What's he got for this front 2? We're going to ride on board as long as we can get the pictures all right. Inside goes Simonson. Espes looking to follow him. Lucetta trying to shut the door. Lucetta's going to have the inside run and the draft from Simonson. How are they going to get this done through the final chicane now? Simonson in the box. Oh, he's left the door open. Lucetta's not following, but Espes, oh, he's turned him straight in the rear. Straight into the rear, Espes. Will Lucetta get the run out of the corner? Yes, he will. Manu Lucetta takes it out for Thrustmaster Mivano, followed by Espes, the destroyer on this occasion. Anderson, Ronna, and Torp following through Simonson. No doubt not very happy with that. Oh, I don't know if you should take it out on the Ronna there, but let's go back and have a look, because I tell you what. Let's just pull it up here nice and slow. You can see Simonson, he's got the defensive line. He's left the car with the rear of the car stepping out, though, perhaps outbraking himself and running across the line. No, I think there was probably the room there. Hard to say, isn't it? I'll tell you what, I'm just trying to think of the best angle to look at that one. I don't know if that's it. It's, no, right rear suspension, no. That's probably not it. I'll tell you who might have had the look, though. It's Lucetta. And we look on gyro or on the roll bar. Sorry, folks. I just want to get the camera angle right. I want to see the line that was taken there. So you can see Simonson. He's taken a defensive line. Slightly compromised entry there. He's gone pretty deep. It's gone pretty deep. Might have been a bit of outbreaking, and then Espes has not adjusted. Tried to open the wheel, but still picked him up. That seems to be what happened there. I think it's a bit of half a dozen one or the other. 6 of one, half a dozen of the other, I should say, as the boys worked it out. I'm going to put that down as a racing incident. Apologies to Espes. I don't think that was entirely of his own making. The boys racing very hard in the closing stages, and then Luquetta's come through to claim it. Beautiful run. I don't know if he picked up the 1X there, and he's just got the run out and taken it out on the line. Perfect run there. I want to go back and see what happened in that second pack. As we see Anderson covered off by Ronna there. Oh, probably a bit of a late move. Oh, geez, he's grabbed the brakes there as Ronna. Gone very deep there. The 9 car coming around the outside. He's probably not going to hang on to that terribly well. Gets a little bit of a helping hand from Anderson, the 9 car there of Torp. Again, probably a racing incident on that one. Guys getting the elbows out in the closing stage. Tell you what, bit of action to finish there, Corey.
Yeah, that's right, Alex. And I can tell you from some of the pit reporters we got down in pit lane, there might have been a little bit of a verbal stoush between Simonson and Espes there post race, and I'm not sure, but I think Simonson might be looking at getting maybe a little bit of a chat ban for some of the things that he said. But that is racing, and Simonson takes this as seriously as he would be at a real racetrack, and it's that kind of realism that sim racing can give us. But it's also you got to remember at the end of the day, you know you're not going to get injured from this. It's not going to cost you $10,000 to fix your car. You know, yeah, things happen, and they might not be favorable, but you got to just get yourself back together. You can race again in another 15 minutes when the next server goes up. But at the end of the day, it's a big race, it's a big soft, and it really means a lot to these drivers. And you can see that through just the way that they drive each other on track, and the action has been insurmountable. The past 2-3 seasons that we've been calling these races, Alex, and you know, it's just really good to see that the guys have been stepping up, and the battles have been immense. But there's been a lot of salt here tonight, and I think someone needs to put their foot down about it because we don't need the salt. The salt, even though it's entertaining, we don't need it. You know.
Yeah, mate. Well, the guys are putting it all on the line out there and looking to bear fruits of their labours. And in the heat of the moment, these things can come out. But while we're at it, folks, why don't we check out the results here? Manu Luquetta patiently in third there. Watch it all unfold as we saw. He's taken out a victory here tonight, and I promise, Manu, I'll update the overlays during the week. Slipped my mind this week, mate. But he's racing for Thrustmaster Mivano. His teammate is not here this week, but he's flying the flag for Italy bravely and fearlessly nonetheless. Pablo Espes in a dramatic P2 tonight for R70 team. He certainly brought his game again tonight, and it was action all around him. And he's managed to hang on for second there with that final chicane incident. Tobias Ronna came through to clean up the scraps. Car 19 here tonight. Tell you what, he'll be running off to the bank with those points and I rating, no doubt. Lee Anderson, the Puce-powered UK and I driver in P4 tonight after an eventful race. Thomas Torp, similarly, he's in P5 tonight. Christian Perez, who I can only assume did the gentlemanly and sportsmanlike thing with his connection here tonight, and he's managed to hang on for P6 after graciously bowing out to the rear of the leading pack. Benny Simonson had another eventful night here tonight and can consider himself unlucky. The elbows were out and was all to play for there at the end, and he's come off second best, unfortunately, once again, finishing in P7. Sebastian Schultz not having the race he would have liked in P8, which turns out looks to have been quite a lonely one. George Alvils Dominic from Iberia in P9. Hope it's George, not Jorge. Apologies, mate. Lachlan Minef, the leading ANZ driver, all the way down in P10, making his SNL debut. James A. Barrington, similarly from UK9, P11. Sist Geron Hartvelt in P12 tonight, rounding out the front page as we go over Team Bossman. Russell Clark for Team Milo, just missing out on the points ahead of, in P13 ahead of Caleb Hydes from ANZ. UK9's Tom Bridle. He's down in P15 after setting the cracking pace early on. Jack Bladden, similarly from UK&I, down in P16. Francisco Palmer, didn't see much of him tonight from Iberia in P17. John Scholz had an eventful exit, unfortunately, as did his teammate for Team Milo, Ben Snell, in 18th and 19th respectively. Strength of field, as we said, 37.78. And Lee Anderson had the fastest lap tonight, draft assisted no doubt, with a 2:47.2. That's fairly moving around here, Corey.
Yeah, that's right, Alex. That is a blistering quick lap time, and of course that has to have been under draft. I don't know anyone who'd be able to do that in a skippy, real or fake, and be able to do it 2:47. That's crazy quick, Alex, and you know, but all up, great racing tonight. Doesn't look like there's going to be anyone here to talk to us, so it was a great race tonight. A lot of fantastic action on track, and ended with a little bit of drama, which we like to see on track. But as I said, I don't like seeing it spill over to the pits afterwards. But the guys put on a phenomenal performance. Benny Simonson very unlucky there at the end of the race, but well done to Manuel Lucetta. An emphatic victory, although I don't think he was actually too pleased with it. I think he wanted to battle it out between the three of them for the run to the line.
Absolutely. Worth noting that Espes and Ronna were both up 8 positions in this field, as was Seb Schultz, who qualified poorly, obviously, up from 16th to 8th. But I just grabbed Espes off the starting grid, and he was all the way down in 9th position. So, look, something to be said for that. Anderson, he finished where he started, and Ronna up 8 positions. The Car 19, perhaps one to watch if he manages to crack it for another top split run. I expect next week the strength of field might build, so he might have a bit more trouble getting in. But hopefully, well, if that's anything to go by, he'll get his chance. So there you have it, folks. That might about do us here tonight. I think the 24-hour hangovers starting to hit us all. But once again, the guys put on a great show here tonight. Corey, what do you got on in the week ahead?
So Tuesday, I have the Fastlane Esports Dirt Series. We're doing the Dirt Wingless 360 sprint cars with the Winged 410 sprint cars. Both of those will be from the Fairbury Speedway, a tight little bull ring of a track. Wednesday, my morning, Alex's afternoon, midnight Eastern for America, over at the Aussie Sim Commentator channel, twitch.tv/Aussie_Sim_commentator. We've got the next round of the Output Racing League from the Pocono Speedway, an absolutely beast of a track with 3 corners. And, it's definitely going to be maybe an interesting, maybe a little bit of a boring race. It depends on how the racing goes. Sometimes we can get a bit of 50-50 with that one. Um, Wednesday night, I'm actually going to be doing some IRL stuff, not on stream or anything, but just a little bit of a tidbit. I'm going to be working with one of the local sprint car teams out here in Perth and making some videos for them. And that will all be kicking off on Wednesday night. So that's something a little to look forward to. Friday night race club, we've got 3 races throughout the night now. So we've got a Robbins Racing Series back with the reverse grid race. We've got the V8 supercars and the spec racer Ford for a slightly longer Bathurst 200 now, Alex. 35 laps instead of 32. So that's going to put a little bit of strategy in play, just a little bit differently. And Saturday is going to be the US ANZ over on the Aussie Sim Commentator channel from the Phoenix Raceway, Alex.
Well, plenty going on there, that's for sure, Corey. Everything top split is on your screen at the moment. I might just get out of that replay so we can have a clean shot at it. And There's the replay of the race will be up on the Top Split YouTube channel. Join us in the Discord, which is where we do the post-race interviews and the broadcast itself. And, of course, excuse me. Oh, dear. Top Split TV is where you'll find us on Twitch. Snellivision, Ben Snell, who's helped us out in the commentary box. Check him out as well. He was streaming the race live before his retirement. And Corey has no live 13. Of course, is Corey, who's joining me in the box. And on behalf of Corey Steinhauser, the chaotic one himself, I've been your host, Alex McKellar. And until next time, thank you for joining us and giving us a little bit of something different in the face of a mountain of 24 hours streams at the moment. Great to have everyone with us. Thank you for your ongoing support, both on track and off. And until next time, we will say ciao for now.